All right, thank you very much, and I appreciate everyone taking the time out of the morning to listen to me. And as Andy said, you know, it was very interesting when we were setting up the weekend, and Andy asked me, his first question was, how long would you like to talk for? And, you know, he said, would you like to talk for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or 45 minutes, but how long? I said, well, Andy, how long is your introduction going to be? And Andy said, well, 5 minutes or so. Which I think was about half an hour ago when he started. So that's why I knew if I committed to 45 minutes, you know, that would fit within the schedule and we wouldn't be behind. But thank you very much for being here. And Andy, thanks very much for the introduction. But what I want to do today is walk through a little bit of the background of Just Energy, which some of you have heard before, and you have heard a bit of the story. Walk through the vision for Momentis and what sort of the task at hand is for Andy and his team and everybody in this room as far as what we want to do with Momentis, and then how we're going to get there. And I'll leave a lot of sort of the other pieces that are going to come out later this morning, this afternoon, on how we're going to grow the company. But we really want to start with Just Energy a little bit. We, as a company, we've been in existence since 1997. Started off with 0 customers, and like any small business. And it was a vision of a group of people to say, let's become an energy customer, or an energy company. Let's start off and see if we can do something very, very special. And perhaps similar to what Andy was talking about, let's begin to write those chapters in a storybook. In the history of what Just Energy Momentis will be, so that at some point, maybe 5 years from now, we can write a book and tell the story of how we became the company we became. So we started off in 1997 and with no customers. And in 2001, which was the year that we went public, became traded on the Toronto Stock Exchange, we had approximately 200,000 customers over 4 years. And we looked at that and said, that's great. You know, it was a good beginning for the company, a good first chapter in the story, a lot of hard work by a lot of people to get there as a public company. And we became listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange and had shareholders in the US and Canada and Europe, which was great. And then we said, well, let's keep dreaming a little bit broader in what we want to try to accomplish. And let's maybe write that next chapter in the book. So from 2001 to 2008, we grew from 200,000 customers to approximately 600,000. And just kept growing. And I'll get back to sort of maybe why I think the growth happened and the success in it. And along the way, brought in new people as part of the management group, new people as part of the organization, new products, et cetera. And then we took the next step and said from 2008 till today, where I think the slide last night had us at 1.8 million customers, we're actually right at about the 2 million mark. So, but Andy didn't have the budget to change the slide, so he had to leave the 1.8 on there. But so now we're at 2 million customers across Canada and the US. And again, if you go back to 1997, the dream or the story of the company was we were in Ontario only. Now we're in 20 jurisdictions. We're in 6 provinces. We're in 14 states. And that has been the story of the company, is being able to take a vision, take a dream, and grow what we do to 2 million customers. In fact, right now, I would put us as the largest and most successful provider of energy across North America. Now, we do have competitors out there that once in a while sort of object to that statement, and I'll usually get emails back in the office telling me not to make it when I get back. But there's 2 parts to that. One is relative size. 2 million customers is a lot, and we've got those all through our sales organization, including Momentis. The second part is successful. And I always look and define the success of the company so far as, have we given people an opportunity to develop, and as Andy says, change their life, participate in a change, and do something very unique. And I'm very proud of what we've done as an organization and the culture that we've built around Just Energy, and as Andy and his team are doing around Momentis in doing that. So we get to the 2 million mark today, and then we look and say, well, what do we really want to do in those next chapters in our book? Would we be happy, getting to 3 million energy customers, or 4 million, or 5 million? And who do we want to have names in those next few chapters in that story of Just Energy and Momentis? And I look, and what I hope is that each of the people here today and people that you're going to talk to and bring into the Momentis organization all have a place in that book as we begin to grow and expand ourselves even further. So when we look and say, well, what does Just Energy Momentis want to become in 3 years or 5 years when we go to write those next few chapters? And we have the real vision that we can become the largest provider of energy and other home essential services, not in North America, because to just define ourselves as a North American company is great. Canada and the US, that's a wonderful start. But we have aspirations of saying, why would we limit ourselves to just North America? Why not let our minds expand, let our thinking expand, so that we would be able to put that tagline with ourselves wherever we go in the world? Probably Europe, probably Asia, other places. And I always think that if you don't have a vision of where you want to get to, it's sort of that Yogi Berra expression, when you get to a fork in the road, take it. If you don't know where you want to go, you won't get there. So why not have a vision of what we want to become and take those steps to get there? And why I think, just before I touch on what I think Momentis will look like in 5 years from now, is why do I think we're going to get there ahead of others, ahead of our competitors, ahead of other people that we deal with, both that are in our industry, not currently in our industry. And it's one key thing that, to me, defines the success of any organization, and it's the passion of the people that are part of it. I can tell you, you look at Andy on the stage, and maybe there's a little bit of passion, right, in how he speaks. He loves what he does. He loves what he's setting out to do, and it's for the right reasons. He loves to do it because he wants to make people around him successful. And when that's your goal, that's your objective, it makes every day fun. Every day to be great to be in at work, every day to be dealing with people in this room and others that are going to join us next month, next year, and the year after that. But it's that passion to succeed drives all of us. And as an organization across Just Energy, when you talk to myself, which hopefully I have a chance to talk to everybody here, you talk to any member of the management team, they have this real drive to help us succeed. Real drive to say, my job, and I really do view this as my only job, is to make sure everybody in this room is given a great opportunity and chance to make that change in your life that you want to make. We will... And every member of the organization, our 1,200 employees, when they come into work every day, they are thinking, how do we make those people that are out there dealing with bringing in new representatives, bringing in new customers, how do we help them be just a little bit more successful? What do I need to do today to help with that success? And it's that passion that we have across the organization that is something, it's culturally there, it's there when people come in every day, and it's something that drives us. And that's why I think we will get to the goal and objective that we want to get to. So if it's 2 million today, my guess is 5 years from now, we're going to have 10 million customers. And I actually think a lot of the customers are going to be right out of this audience here are going to be the driver of that. Now, one thing Andy has asked me, and he once in a while will pose the question as to, but Ken, what is my budget? Like, how much do I really have to invest in the Momentis organization to allow it to grow to be what we want it to be? And he didn't ask me that question before this event, by the way, but my answer is the same, and it's, Andy, you can have as much money as you want. So if he says, well, I'd like $100 million to help build an organization, to build this Momentis entity so that I can grow it bring in new products, new ideas, expand our geography, make sure that everyone's earning a great living, that's great by me. We have the money, it's available. But everybody knows Andy, right? So he did the, okay, well, what if I wanted $200 million? And that's when I knew I was in for a tough negotiation with him at that point. But again, the answer is the same. If we keep building a successful business, if we keep growing the Momentis footprint, if we keep bringing in new representatives, new customers, and making a difference in their lives, you can have the 200 million. So now, again, Andy at that point, he sort of wanders, I actually don't know where he goes a lot of time, but he wanders down the hall a little bit and then comes back a couple minutes later and goes, well, I just have one more question, but what if I really needed $300 million to do this? And so I finally said to him, I said, Andy, I tell you what, you have an unlimited budget to do what we want. The only thing, now I never really say that to him without a condition or two, but the only thing that we want to make sure that we do is, one thing, we want to be profitable as a company, because that just means all of our the company that you'll grow to count on is there and supporting you and helping you grow, which we want to do. But secondly, I need a real commitment by everybody at the Momentis team that we're going to do this for the right reason. We're going to have something that's great for customers, and we're going to help the people who are here today and the people who are here next year, the year after, and the year after that, all be as successful as they want to be. And it's my one sort of pet peeve when I look at some of our competitors and other companies, is that the management team is more concerned about how successful they are than how successful you are. And I have no tolerance for that at all. It is... And neither does Andy or the management team at Momentis. It is, if everyone in here is wildly successful, takes all of my $300 million from me, the only thing I'm going to do is put more back in the pot so you can have some more. But because I think it's just, if you're all successful, our shareholders are successful. I happen to be a big shareholder, so that's good by me. And not that I want to give investment advice, but everybody should be a shareholder of Just Energy. So, but we want to ensure you're successful, which drives the company's success. When I look at Momentis itself and say, what do we want to get to as we expand the business? And I'm not going to talk about any of the specifics because that would take the surprise from what the rest of the day is. But I really do think that we can become that essential home services provider of products and services across Canada, every province in Canada, every state in the US, in Europe, in Asia perhaps. And just to put it into context, because a lot of companies I think would say, we have great expansion plans, we're going to go all over the place, we're going to do lots of things, why don't you just join up? For instance, in Europe, we are in the midst of opening an office in the UK, which will be open in the next couple of weeks. And so when we say as an organization that we're going to do something, we will. We won't get it right every time. We make lots of mistakes like lots of people do, but when we make them, you'll find us very, very quick to try to fix them and get it right. But we're going to be into Europe. We will be there and operational with our commercial business first, because we want to make sure we get things set up structurally and right by January or February. So we'll be on the ground, we'll be operating. And as we get the infrastructure and support going, then I'm going to come back to Andy and say, look at Andy, it's, the vision of US and Canada isn't quite broad enough. So don't tell him yet that I told you about Europe, but you need to start thinking a little broader into Europe as well. And that's really where we get to with what I view as Momentis. Over the next 5 years, when we look back 5 years from now, we're going to look and say, we are the biggest relationship network marketer and the most successful relationship network marketer in the world. And And I can probably, count on my hand the number of other competitors, so to speak, that would say no chance. There's no way Just Energy Momentis will be successful in doing that. And you know what? It's a different crowd, but it's the same concept of what we faced when we started off with 0 customers in our energy business in 1997. We had a big group of competitors who said, there is no way you will be successful. No chance. You're not good enough. Your sales organization isn't good enough. Nothing you do is good enough. And you have no customers, so you are not going to succeed. And now I look at most of them, and we've either bought them or they're out of business. The ones that are still in business, we will buy or put them out of business. So I have just a small streak of competitiveness, but otherwise a nice guy. And that's really what we want to set out with Momentis, is how do we take the group here, the foundation of what we're going to do, and build ourselves into this relationship marketer everywhere in the world. So when you go somewhere, whether it's on vacation or whether it's for work, and you go to London, England, and they say, oh, you work for Momentis? Oh, I've heard of them. I know what they do. You guys are really good. I wish I worked there. Or if you go to Wyoming, and they say the same thing. And we're going to get there. And the reason I know we're going to get there is the passion of the management team and the fact that every single thing that we've said we would do at Just Energy, we have done. Like I say, mistakes for sure, but for the most part, we've got where we want to go, and we will be there in that time frame. So I have sort of a question for the group here, and it's really around, if you look at big events that happen, or it could be a Super Bowl game, or it could be some other type of event, and the stadium holds 60,000 people. Whenever you talk to your friends, do you ever really get the impression that there's actually been 1 million people were in the stadium at the event? Right? Everybody was there. Everyone you talk to, and you look and say, well, that's just cannot have happened. There just aren't that many seats, so how could everybody be there? And really what it is a lot of people say, I wanted so much to be at the event, so much to be part of whatever it was, that I've now convinced myself that I was there. So I don't think it's a lot of people lying a lot of the times. I think they've actually believe it. And so it's really for the group here. So what do you want to be? Do you want to be that person who is actually in the stadium at the event? Or in 5 years from now, when Andy's writing the chapters about Momentis, do you want to be that person that Andy is actually putting into that chapter and writing and saying, that person was part of the event, and they were there? And I know what my answer is. And I'm not sure what Andy's going to write about me, which I think I get to edit everything anyway, so it'll be good. But my answer is I want to be in that stadium. I want to be in that event. I want to be part of it. So when I tell people I was part of the success of Just Energy, I was part of the success of Momentis, that everybody knows I was there. And really for everybody here, if you've been with us for 17 months and we're right at the beginning, that's pretty good. You'll probably get your name written into the book. If you've been with us for a month or just here just thinking about whether, do I really want to be part of the event? Do I want to get that ticket and be in and be part of it? I'd really look and say, why wouldn't you want to be there? Why wouldn't you want to be part of something that has been successful since 1997 with an organization that the primary goal and objective is to make everybody in this room both happy, financially successful, make as much money as you want, do with it what you want, give it all away after you make it. That's really a decision you can make. But why wouldn't you want to be part of that? And so that when we do write that book in a few years, you can say, I was there, I had a ticket, I got written about in the storybook, and doesn't it feel great to go everywhere where we go and say, I'm part of that Momentis family, and I was glad back on that day back in September that I chose to be part of it. Who doesn't want to do that? So really, maybe just in closing, and like say, Andy used up most of my time in his 5-minute introduction, but just in closing, the one thing you can count on from Just Energy is we're the entire group that runs the company, and the same is true of the people at Momentis. We are in this for one reason. It is to make you successful. When you're successful and you're changing that aspect of your life that you want to do, getting the financial rewards that come along with it, we are successful as well. Our shareholders will be happy. It all works really, really well. And you can count on us every single day. If we say we're going to do something, we will, or we'll try our hardest to do it. And if we say that we'll help you, we will do it. If we say we'll put the resources behind Momentis, as I mentioned, we will put the resources behind Momentis so that we can get to that goal and objective. Because for sure, I want my name written in that book as someone who actually didn't do very much of the work, just gave a few speeches, but really put all the resources and effort behind the people who really do all the work for us, and that's the people sitting in this room right here. And I'm going to consider that an amazing honor to have my name written down beside the people that I've met here last night, earlier on at different events, and tonight as well. To have my name written even close to beside yours will be an amazing honor for me, and something that I will commit to you that I will do my hardest all the time to ensure that that story gets written the way that we want it written as a group. So with that, thank you very much. I appreciate the time, your commitment, and I look forward to meeting every one of you. Thank you very much.